What is going on, guys? My name is TDefton, and this is another Division 2 video. So today what we are going to be going over is how to manage your inventory. I actually got a couple of questions about this new Gear 2.0 system. What should I keep? What should I put into my my bench, my recalibration library? What should I, just keep in my inventory for a later build? Should I even do that? Etc, etc. So that's kind of what I wanted to touch on today. I wanted to explain what you should be keeping in your inventory for future reference, what you should just be putting into your recalibration library, and also, how you should be managing your inventory, and also your stash. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so first things first is understanding what's going on in the inventory. So you have your weapons, you have your gear, and then you have your mods. Weapons and gear are the thing that actually make up this 100 inventory space up here. Gear is something separate. It has its own inventory slots. It's the same thing as your caches as well. They have their own inventory slots. So those inventory slots don't play into your full inventory, your 100 capacity inventory. So now that we have that out of the way, let's get into how you can choose the weapons that you're going to keep and choose the weapons that you're going to destroy. So you have two different weapons that you can choose from, meaning two different weapon types: your primary, secondary, which I consider to just be primary because they're all basically the same weapons, meaning the same weapon categories. You have your LMGs, your SMGs, your assault rifles, etc. And then you have your secondary, or your sidearm, which is your pistols. And pistols come in many different varieties. You have semi-automatic, automatic, and you also have some like magnums and stuff which are basically like snipers, but you know what I mean. So let's go into this weapons menu and see exactly what's going on here. Now, what you would want to do is you would want to, as I said, keep in the back of your mind what exactly you are trying to accomplish here. Are you trying to do a DPS build? Are you trying to do a skill build? Like, what are you trying to do? In my case, I'm doing a DPS build. So what I am focusing on is a particular type of weapon. Now with the DPS build, you can choose any weapon that you want, but in my particular case, I'm choosing a crit DPS build, so I'm going to use SMGs because of their high rate of fire and their high reload speed, and then I'm also choosing an LMG because of that big magazine. So that's what I'm focusing on. So that's kind of what I'm looking for when I'm going out and getting loot. That doesn't mean that every other piece of loot that drops I'm just going to destroy. Absolutely not, especially when your library, your recalibration library, which is going to be extremely important in late game, it's like you need to make sure that you pick up good rolls that drop on the floor. Don't just destroy them, even if it's not a weapon that you're focusing on. So in my case, as I said, I'm focusing on SMGs and LMGs. So I have quite a few LMGs here. I have quite a few SMGs here. But you could tell I also have some other weapons, right? I have some assault rifles. I also have some shotguns. I have some sniper rifles. Now, the only reason why I have some of these is because I picked up some loot just so that I had some for the video, so I can just, go through this process with you. But also, some of this loot is actually pretty good. Like, I got this roll for this weapon, which is a SOCOM MK16, and it's actually really good roll. I got 2 God rolls on it, and I also got measured, which is a really good talent, especially for assault rifles, in my opinion. So it's like when you see stuff like that, even though you don't use it now, you might want to use it later. So it's good to keep those really good rolls just for future reference, because I can make this completely god rolled if I wanted to by literally just changing this core attribute, assault rifle damage, to max. Like that, then this thing is almost perfect, so you never know. Maybe in the future you want to switch to an assault rifle, you want to switch to a sniper, you want to mix it up every once in a while, so you want to give yourself that opportunity. So when you see stuff that drops and you think that it's a potentially good roll, keep it. And usually what I do if I have a really good drop, I usually mark it with a favorite. So on mouse and keyboard, you press R and then you press mark as favorite, and then that will prevent it from showing up in your recalibration library as something that you can deconstruct. It will also prevent you from accidentally deconstructing it, and it will also prevent you from accidentally selling it. So it's something that I just do as a safety precaution. Doesn't mean it's actually my favorite weapon, it's just something to make sure that, you know, I don't accidentally get rid of it. Now, going through everything else now, you see certain things that you may not want. Like for example, as I said, I'm going with SMG and LMG, but this SMG isn't really too great. It's pretty good if you don't already have a build, but it's not the best. If you already have something that's better, and you don't have something better in your recalibration station or inside of your recalibration library, I really recommend going in and marking it as trash, but don't actually deconstruct it. Go to your recalibration library and put it in there, because as I said, you never know when you might need it. Instead of deconstructing, before you do that, mark things as trash, but go into your recalibration library, see if those things that you marked as trash are able to be put in there, and then if they aren't, you can deconstruct them. If they are, then put it in your recalibration library, because you might want to use those attributes and talents later. So overall with weapons, and this goes with pistols as well, you kind of just want to go through and see if there's any weapons that you that aren't really your primary weapon. If it isn't your primary weapon, I would suggest marking it as trash. Unless it's a really good roll, then mark it as favorite. If it's not a good roll, or it's not like a perfect roll, what you're gonna want to do is just mark it as trash, bring it to your recalibration library, and see if it can be put in there. If it can't, then you can deconstruct or sell it. Up to you. So the next part in this is actually the gear, and it's very similar to weapons. What you want to do is you want to go into your gear and see, once again, you need to keep in the back of your mind, what are you trying to do? What kind of build are you trying to make? In this case, as I've said time and time again, I'm trying to do a crit slash DPS build, right? Or a DPS build that focuses on crit. So the items that I'm looking for are things with the weapon damage attribute and and gear with the critical damage and critical chance attributes. Now, this is another thing that comes into play. You need to make sure you're getting the right brand sets. Obviously you're not going to memorize every single brand set in the game right off the bat. That's just not going to happen. But there are a lot of cheat sheets out there that you can use to kind of figure out, okay, well, I should probably be going for Sokov, or I should probably be going for Hardwired, which is a brand, or a gear set, I mean. Or maybe I should be going for Murakami, or maybe I should be going for Araldi. It just depends on the type of build that you're trying to make, because a lot of these brand sets are what's going to push your build to the next level. You can't just get it from, you know, just core attributes and regular attributes. Yes, it is possible to get a perfectly optimized build with just core attributes and regular attributes and not really working on brand sets or not really focusing on brand sets, but it's much more difficult and the RNG is going to be insane. So it's much better for you to try and get good rolls on brand sets that work for your build. For example, with my build, I'm focusing on crit and damage, as I said before. So the brand sets that I'm going for is Sulkov, because I'm using an SMG, so it gives me an extra 10% SMG damage right off the bat, and it also gives me critical hit damage and critical hit chance. So those are things that I'm going to be looking for. Additionally, I'm going to be looking for gear sets. There are certain gear sets in the game that are going to be really useful for certain builds. So, for example, this gear set, Negotiator's Dilemma, gives a lot of critical chance and a lot of critical hit damage. So I'm going to be looking for that gear set as I'm farming for my gear. And in fact, with my build, really the only thing I have left, the only thing I need is that gear set, Negotiator's Dilemma, but a holster. You got to make sure that you focus on the entire picture. Make sure you take a look at the brand sets, make sure you take a look at the gear sets, and try and piece together what you're going to need. And by doing that, then you can eliminate the other things that you don't need. You could take this information, figure out what you actually don't need. So let's say I'm working on a skill build, right? I'm not going to need a lot of armor regeneration or maybe explosive resistance or anything like that because, or armor, because maybe I'm going to have the deflector drone, or maybe I'm going to have a really high healing build, or maybe I'm going to, you get the idea. So you're going to be looking for things that are more useful to your build, like skill haste or like repair, or skill repair. Like, you're going to be looking for that kind of stuff, and anytime you see something that isn't what you're looking for, you're still going to take it if it's a high roll, but you're going to mark it as trash and try and put it into your recalibration library for later, and just in case you need to make that build later on. So this is one of the beautiful things about the recalibration library. It allows you to expand your builds out in the future without having to hoard a bunch of items, because it's all stored in this library that you could just go to whenever you want. All right, and the last thing that I want to go over is mods. So with mods, it's pretty simple, to be honest. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go in and check to see if you have any duplicates. So meaning duplicate attributes. So for example, in this scenario, I have incoming repairs, right? So incoming repairs, 16.1%. Let's try and see if I find another incoming repairs. There it is, 15.8%. Okay, that's pretty close, and I usually want to keep 2 of each, so let's just keep that. Let's try and find another incoming repairs, if there is another one. All right, so in this case there is 10.5. We can get rid of this, and also this is level 30, so we can definitely get rid of it. And you just keep on going along these lines. So, and you get the idea. You can keep on going through each one of these categories and do the exact same process. Now with mods for your skills, there's an even better way to do it, and that's by actually going into the skills menu by pressing space on that on one of your skills on the bottom, and then going in and pressing F on any one of these skills and going into each of the slots. So as you can tell here, there are 2 different things that are for deflectoration, and one of them is bigger than the other. So we can choose this one and actually mark this one as trash and go into each category and do the exact same thing. So there's damage reduction here, but there's another damage reduction here that's much better. So we can mark that one as trash. And then there's another damage reduction right after that, which is even better. So we can get rid of that one as well. And you just keep on going through each one of your items like this. And I know it seems daunting because there's a lot, but if you do this every single time you get a bunch of gear, or every time you run through a mission, it's very quick. It becomes like second nature to you, and it allows your inventory to have plenty of breathing room for you to be able to pick up loot and to be able to assess the loot properly and not feel like a hoarder where you always have 100% inventory filled, because that was the way that the game used to be. So let's remember where we came from, folks. Alright guys, that would be it for the video today. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. If I did miss anything, let me know down in the comments. If you learned something, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And if you enjoyed the video, also hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe. I plan on posting a lot more Division 2 content. I'm really enjoying playing this game. I haven't had this like sense of passion for a game since like the early days of Warframe, so it feels really good to be back making videos and to be back making content. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. As I said, if you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe for some more Division 2 content, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.